16. Management of natural resources. Natural resources. Nature has gifted us with resources such as water, air, soil, minerals, plants, and wildlife. These are our natural resources. Man is totally dependent on the nature for his survival. All his material needs of food, clothing, housing, vehicles, fuels, etc. are obtained from nature. In ancient times, man's needs were limited, and so he lived in peace and harmony with nature. Today, however, man is living in an age of advanced science and technology. With an increase in the standard of living, man's demands too have increased. Continuous growth in human population, improvements in healthcare, and other factors have resulted in an increase in the demand for natural resources at an exponential rate. To meet the needs of ever-burgeoning population, man is overexploiting the natural resources, thus causing their depletion. Industrialization and increased use of fossil fuels are polluting our environment. The world is facing problems like water crisis and energy crisis due to pollution and depletion of natural resources. It is, therefore, our duty to conserve our present resources and safeguard the environment from future damage. Use of efficient and eco-friendly technology will help us in reducing pollution and protecting our environment. Efforts to protect the environment and natural resources. Key decision makers at all levels, like in international communities, government agencies, and business enterprises, should make environmental friendly decisions and focus on sustainable use of resources. People should be made aware of the environmental related problems and make a conscious effort to minimize them. A global democratic outlook and environmental commitment is essential. An effective management of resources requires participation from countries and non-governmental organizations. Several acts, treaties, and policies have been made for the same. The first United Nations Conference on Human Environment, or UNCHE, was held in Stockholm, Sweden, from the 5th of June to the 16th of June in 1972. Representatives of 113 countries across the world, along with many international and non-governmental agencies, attended this conference. The aim of the conference was to focus on human activities in relation to the environment and to lay the foundation of environmental action at an international level. The conference acknowledged that the goal of reducing human impact on environment would require international cooperation, as most of the problems affecting the environment are global in nature. An organization called United Nations Environment Programme, or UNEP, was launched in this conference. The objectives of UNEP are promoting international participation and cooperation in addressing environmental issues and environmental policy, monitoring the status of the global environment and interpreting the environmental data gathered, arranging to enhance environmental awareness and offer for policy to advise the government, society, and in the private sector. Coordinating UN activities on matters concerned with the environment. Developing regional programs for sustainability. Helping environmental authorities, especially in developing countries, to formulate and implement environmental policies. Helping to develop international environmental law. India is the first country in the world that has provided constitutional provisions for the protection and preservation of the environment. Indian Constitution has formulated strict laws which put obligations on each state as well as every citizen of India to protect and improve the environment. Environment Protection Act 1986. The Environment Protection Act 1986 came into force after the infamous Bhopal gas tragedy. Some powers have been investing on the central government to protect and improve the environment. These include planning and execution of nationwide programs to prevent and control environmental pollution, laying down the standards for the emission of environmental pollutants from various sources, laying down the standards for environmental quality, laying down procedures and safeguards for handling of hazardous substances, assessing manufacturing processes, materials and substances which could cause environmental pollution, restricting areas in which industries and other establishments are to be set up. Emission standards. Euro norms designated as Euro 1 and Euro 2 are emission standards implemented in Europe. It states permissible emission levels for both petrol and diesel vehicles. In India, it is adopted as Bharat norms. Bharat norms are emission standards which regulate the output of air pollutants released by cars. They also ensure that the amount of harmful pollutants released while manufacturing automobile products are reduced. Many automobile companies manufacture products adhering to the Bharat norms. Such products certify that they are eco-friendly. If we use such eco-friendly products, we will help in controlling the pollution effectively. Ganga Action Plan. You all know River Ganges. Water of River Ganges is considered holy by many Indians. However, it was found to be polluted with both domestic as well as industrial waste. The major pollutants that contaminated the water of River Ganges were sewage from cities and towns located on its banks, untreated effluents from industries, and runoff from chemical fertilizers and pesticides used in agriculture. Solid wastes including animal carcasses and even human corpses were dumped into the water every day. In 1986, the Ganga Action Plan was launched to clean up the River Ganges. The main objectives of the plan were to improve the quality of water, make it potable, and provide safe bathing along the river. The objectives of the Ganga Action Plan were achieved by intercepting and diverting wastewater to sewage treatment plants instead of letting it flow directly into the river. Other pollution control methods like solid waste management were also used. Emphasis was laid on public participation and creating public awareness to keep the River Ganges clean.
turbidity, total dissolved solids, TDS, suspended solids, dissolved oxygen, etc. are some of these. To detect pollutants present in trace amounts but causing serious threats are detected using sophisticated instruments like atomic absorption spectrometer. Presence of coliform, a group of bacteria found in human intestines, is detected by microbiological analysis. Total coliform count in water indicates contamination by disease-causing microorganisms.
Factory wastes that flow into water bodies contain acidic substances. These substances harm fishes and other aquatic life.
A change in the pH of water indicates the presence of acidic or basic pollutants. This can be detected by using a litmus paper or universal indicator. On adding universal indicator, drinking water, which is neutral, will turn green in color, indicating a pH 7. If the water in the water body is polluted with acidic substances, it will have pH value less than 7 and show color gradation from yellow to red depending on the acidity. Similarly, if the water is polluted with basic substances, it will have pH more than 7 and turns blue on adding indicator. Reduce, reuse and recycle approach.
We can follow the 3R approach, that is, reduce, reuse and recycle in order to protect our environment. The most effective way of protecting the environment is to reduce the amount of Earth's resources that we use. It means that we use less resources. One can reduce the amount of solid waste at the source itself. For example, use less paper and less plastic carry bags.
We can reduce the amount of plastic that we use in different ways. We can use jute, cloth and paper bags instead of polythene bags. This will reduce the quantity of non-biodegradable materials that are discarded in garbage dumps, rivers and seas. Once we reduce the use of non-biodegradable materials, we can save the energy used to make them. In this way, we can save important natural resources like petroleum and coal. Fix leaks and dripping taps at once. Leaking taps at home, school, or any other place waste a lot of water. A dripping tap can cause a loss of up to 72 liters of water per day. Hence, a leaking tap must be repaired immediately.
One can save electricity by switching off unnecessary lights and fans. We can reduce the use of liquid petroleum gas (LPG) by making use of soda cooker for cooking food. If the mineral resources are used sensibly and repeatedly, mining and dredging for their search can be reduced.
To reuse means not to throw the old goods away, but to use the same goods again and again. As a result, the demand for new goods is reduced. One can use plastic bottles and jars, aluminum foils and plastic bags over and over again before recycling or disposing them off. Containers made of plastic, glass or metal that are used to pack food items can be reused to store things. paper can be reused to make useful things like paper bags, greeting cards, and wrapping paper. You can reuse various boxes and other materials to make pencil holders, scribbling pads, etc. Shoe boxes can also be reused to store things in your room. To recycle means rather than throwing materials away, they can be recycled. Used and discarded materials like plastic, glass, paper, and metal are sent to the respective industries where they can be converted into the useful products. The new products produced by processing materials from old and used products are called recycled products. If we reduce, reuse, and recycle the available products, it helps in cutting down the amount of energy used to produce new items. It also helps in conserving natural resources that would otherwise be used to manufacture new items.
Sustainable use of resources.
The development in industry, infrastructure, medicines, and housing has resulted in the deterioration of the environment. True development will be achieved when growth and rise in the standard of living will not harm the environment. Sustainability is the process suggested to improve the quality of human life without harming the global environment. It is necessary to combine good technology, research, political support, awareness, and the participation of communities in order to conserve resources. Some of the objectives of sustainable development are: reduce pollution by using eco-friendly technology, restrain the use of natural resources to ensure availability for future generations, protection of environment, social equality and accessing resources, continuous economic growth.
Why do we need to manage our resources?
We use all the things like food, clothes, furniture, fuels, vehicles, water, etc., which are obtained from the resources available on this earth.
More resources are required to sustain the increasing human population, due to which people overexploit the available resources. With the ever-burgeoning population, the demand for housing has increased multifold. This has resulted in clearing of forest areas and reclamation of land from the sea. This explosion in population has increased the demand for food grains and other agricultural products. To meet this demand, farmers tend to overuse fertilizers, thereby making the land infertile.
As the amount of resources on the earth is limited due to huge increase in human population, demand of resources also increases day by day. Hence, proper management is required to ensure that the natural resources are used judiciously. The proper management can ensure equal distribution of natural resources so that all the people can get benefits from the development of these resources. The proper management body must indicate about the damage caused in the environment during the use of natural resources and must find ways to minimize the damage. Let's do a quick check. Forests